Hey now, it's Phillip E from Screenwriters Talking Shop. Today I would like to do a verbal installment of Tales from the Trenches, which is a feature on Screenwriters Talking Shop that has been delivered previously in written form. But today I want to talk about taking on projects for other people, meaning things that you did not create out of your brain, but these would be rewrites, these would be writing screenplays off of somebody else's treatment. And I've had varying degrees of success doing this over the past 10 years, that if I were to apply a percentage basis, I'd say maybe 20% of these projects have worked out to be something good. So therefore, 80% of them have sucked. And those are the ones I'd like to talk about today. Now, I've worked with directors, producers, and actors on these ventures. And for example, there was a Australian filmmaker that I worked with on a horror project, and he wrote a treatment. It seemed like a pretty simple concept. I thought his idea had legs, and it was all going to take place in one location. So he was also attached to another guy that I knew who was a producer, and I wrote a first draft, and the other parties were in agreement that, you know, it was pretty good, but they thought my draft was too talky, and I wound up doing a couple of rewrites. And then finally, after about a year or so, after the producer had begged off, the director did his own rewrite of my screenplay, and needless to say, this thing veered off into the abyss. So that was one of the ones that turned out to be an unfortunate experience. But one of the things I do when I do write these type of spec projects is I will copyright my version of the work, so to prevent somebody from deciding they would use my writing and then make a film with it. So, but however, that being said, I'm getting much more picky about what I do over the years. I'll give you one more example. About 5-6 years ago, I was going through some ads, and I saw somebody that wanted a treatment written for $500. And so I said, okay. I gave him a call and I said, what do you got going? And told the guy, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I can probably do that in a couple of days, worth $500 to me. So as it turned out, he was managing his son, who was a young man, about 21 years old, and he was an actor on a very famous sitcom, and he also had one of the feature roles in this comedy. So I figured, hey, this might be good. And then on top of that, they said, we have a famous producer-director that's waiting to see this. And I looked the guy up, and he's very well known, and he's got a great track record. So I said, hey, this might turn out to be something good. It's worth some time. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'll take it on. So I supplied them with a treatment. Apparently, the treatment was good enough to interest the director in seeing a feature screenplay. So at that point, they were going to pay me my fee and send me on my way. And I said, hey, you know, I'm the guy who kind of came up with a lot of this. Why don't you let me take a crack at writing a spec screenplay? So I did my usual process and then decided I would write the screenplay and then copyright it. But during those few weeks when I was writing the first draft, the father manager got back to me and was pressuring me to give him 10 pages and 10 pages. And I told the guy, look, my friend, I don't work that way. I will write a complete script, and when it's ready, I'll send it to you, which I did. And then after that, for several weeks, I heard the sound of crickets, and they were coming from my backyard. But I didn't get a call back from the father manager, who was my primary point of contact. And this was in spite of the fact that I had also spoken with his son, and we'd had a meeting, and we agreed upon the direction. And I said I was going to write a highbrow kind of family comedy, veer off from their copycat horror thing that they were doing. And the kid who was the actor seemed like he was pretty enthusiastic about it. So when I called the guy back the second time, got him on the phone, he seemed like he was really, oh yeah, I'll get to it. And this was kind of odd to me, considering the same guy a month earlier had been pressuring me to give him 10 pages at a time. So in my head, being the suspicious, not paranoid, but I'll say suspicious guy that I am, I figured, hey, maybe the guy was looking to just get me to give him, the screenplay, all the pages, and without copywriting it, and then he could just put his name on it, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that was his insidious thought process, but the bottom line is I spent a lot of time on this, and I didn't even get the courtesy back of a phone call saying, hey, your script blows, we don't like it, we're going another direction. Never a call back after all that. So turned out to be a big waste of time. So the point is that all these industry types want to put their stamp on the work. Everybody associated with making a film seems to think that they are a storyteller, and so be very careful as you foray into this territory and you look at taking on projects for people, even if they're legitimate rewrites for producers, and sometimes even if they want to pay you. You need to be very clear about the direction that you're going to take when you start rewriting this material, or even if it's a treatment. I just worked with another producer that I've known for 10 years on his treatment, and he said, well, I had a meeting recently at a big 6 studio, and why don't you write the screenplay in the meantime, until we can submit it when the strike is over. I already gave him the idea, I primed the pump, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, but my response to the guy was, you get somebody who's really interested in seeing a script, somebody legit that's saying that they're interested in the treatment, then I'll consider writing the screenplay. But I'm not going to write a spec screenplay in hopes that you can get some action going on what I think, in my heart, isn't really the greatest idea to begin with. So that's it for today. That's Tales from the Trenches. I hope you enjoyed it. Phillip E. Screenwriters Talking Shop.